The Parts and Pieces of a State Assembly. June 12, 2019 by Anna von Reitz. There is a ginned-up misunderstanding about Jural Assemblies as if they were state assemblies and vice versa. Let's get this straight and make it clear. Jural Assemblies, like state militias, are adjunct organizations like committees of the actual state assemblies. I never said that Jural Assemblies were equivalent to or the same as state assemblies, and I would appreciate it if people stop putting words in my mouth and making inappropriate assumptions. You will all note that the American States Assembly is dedicated to organizing what? State assemblies. It is to be taken for granted that in the process of organizing state assemblies, the adjunct functions of the Jural Assemblies and state militias, which are under the authority of our state assemblies, will also be organized. What happened, as usual, is that certain people got the cart in front of the horse and were trying to organize Jural Assemblies and common law grand juries without bothering to create the state assembly first. They were also doing numerous things that were dangerous and mistaken, things that could get them and their members arrested for sedition. So I began writing to them and trying to educate them to avoid that outcome. The leaders of some of these organizations refused to learn, and so we split off and created the American States Assembly for those people who want to do this and do it right, safely, peacefully, in order, with all ducks in place. Because none of our actual states allow dual citizenship, it is necessary that everyone who is admitted to membership in an actual state assembly expatriate from the presumption of territorial and/or municipal U.S. citizenship. You have to make a choice and record that choice and act accordingly in order to establish the correct capacity to function as a state national or state citizen. This scares some people because they have been duped into thinking that there is something good about being a U.S. citizen. It is in fact a slave status and a pauper status. Nobody who was fully informed would choose to act in such a political status, which is why they palm it off on us while we are still babes in our cradles and hide all the details forever afterward. Many people seem to be milling around wondering what to do. It's sort of a, gee, well, we formed a state assembly and got our paperwork recorded. Now what? For starters, you hold regular meetings and develop means of helping and supporting each other. The state coordinators are being trained to help with some of the worst problems people in their state assemblies face. And as for the big vision of what the state assemblies need to do, it has already been described and set forth by our forefathers. Our form of government is supposed to be organized like the current government of the Swiss cantons. Since we have a living example of how the Swiss cantons function, it isn't exactly rocket science to apply the same principles in America. So study the Swiss cantons, discuss how they operate, look at how you can adapt a similar grassroots system of republican government for your state. Once you start looking at the Swiss system, you can recognize the pieces and parts of our nearly but not quite defunct lawful government, our Jural Assemblies, our courts, our law, our sheriffs, our state militias, our public notaries, our electors, and all the rest of it that our forefathers established, and which our foreign subcontractors have usurped upon. State assemblies give rise to Jural Assemblies and state militias, as well as other offices and committees. They train and commission public notaries. They keep public records. Through their federation, they will issue passports. They will assist members who need access to the public credit our states and people are owed. They oversee the courts and banks. They charter their own state-of-state organization to conduct business and maintain infrastructure and take public property. They have public safety committees, executive committees, communications committees. It's a huge amount of work and organization that has to be done, researched, implemented, and expedited primarily by volunteers, by mom and pop. Not everyone has all the skills and knowledge to do this, but anyone who is sufficiently motivated can grab an oar. Split up the work to be done according to the skills and interests of your group members. Those of you who have butted heads with the driver license issues, why not research that and share your findings with everyone else? Those who have dealt successfully with the IRS, take up the hammer and tongs. If a large number of us engage, these illegal and immoral activities can be exposed and stopped and even reversed. The instrument able to accomplish all of this and more is your state assembly. Thus far, the greatest danger to success appears to be the idea that some people have that the State Assembly is an instrument already made and set up to solve their own immediate problems, their lawsuit, their fight with their neighbors, and they want service right now. It is important for people like this who are coming into the assembly process to be told that this is not the government as they have known it. This is the government that they are owed and that they are responsible for. And while it is just getting started, they need to take JFK's words to heart, and ask not what their assembly can do for them, but what they can do for their assembly.